Early, on February 29, 2004, the president of Haiti called upon the international community to protect his government from a rebel army advancing on the capital, Port-au-Prince. Hours later, however, President Jean Bertrand Aristide found himself on a U.S. military jet, surrounded by Marines, being escorted to an unknown destination. Back in Haiti, hundreds of members of his party and cabinet were arrested and imprisoned. More than a year later, as he watches the last remaining months of his term expire, Aristide remains defiant towards those he says forced him into exile for the second time in 15 years.
I am still the only elected president of Haiti. They voted for a president. A good number, unfortunately, were killed for that, for defending an elected president.
C'est la première fois dans l'histoire du monde qu'un chef d'État élu, démocratiquement élu d'un pays souverain, est kidnappé par les forces spéciales d'un autre État souverain.
President Aristide told me that he'd been forced from his home, that he had literally been kidnapped. They told him if he did not leave, he would be killed, and a lot of other Haitians would be killed.
Every time the Haitian majority has been allowed to go to the polls, it has voted for the same people with the same agenda. Each time that agenda was pursued, the government was overthrown by military force.
Aristide represented a people's reform movement and was trying for the first time ever in Haitian history to be the voice of the voiceless.
This was, again, the Haitian people in power, with all the warts and all the sloppiness and anarchy that come with a newly born government.
As we attempt to understand how a president so overwhelmingly elected by his people lost the support of the international community, we are confronted by those who defend Aristide and accuse the United States of orchestrating his removal.
This is not about anything but the ideology of the far-right wing that now really controls the United States government that does not support popular democracy.
Orders from on high are that we are to concentrate on this question. Just how much was Aristide responsible? But we don't have to follow the orders from on high. And if we're sensible, we see that the only question was how it would implode.
But we are also confronted by those who blame the collapse on Aristide himself.
There wasn't any question that things were going to fall apart in Haiti. The immediate roots are part of the tragedy of Aristide. This man failed to deliver. Hopes crashed.
President Aristide didn't just make mistakes, he willfully misgoverned, and eventually he paid the price for that because he lost his ability to control the whirlwind of violence that he had unleashed on the country for a decade.
As the bitterly partisan debate about one of the most controversial figures of the 20th century continues to rage, it remains clear that Haiti is in crisis.
I saw things that people are never supposed to see, that just inhuman bodies that you just see. I mean, their daily life is to walk by a body that's being eaten by a dog because it was killed, the night before. It's a setback that's multiple decades backwards. Everything's broken, and everybody knows it.
Aristide was not perfect, but he represented an institution. If allowed to grow and prosper, it symbolized another relationship that Haiti would have to the world.
The justice that Aristide fought for, that the Haitian people demand, is still existing. Haiti is poor as dirt. Children are still dying. The situation of Haiti defies logic. To see the Haitian people living like that is incredible. My hair is standing on the back of my head right now as I'm talking to you. This is such a waste. This is so undignified. This is a crime against humanity.
Je connais Aristide depuis 1982, et au moment où il a été ordonné prêtre. Et j'ai suivi son évolution, son engagement dans la théologie de la libération et aux côtés des jeunes.
While Father Guy Poulard came to oppose Aristide's presidency and now serves a small, wealthy parish in Jacmel, he recalls his former colleague's commitment to social change.
Après plus de 20 ans de dictature et du valieriste, la population haïtienne aspirait à autre chose. Moi, je sentais en lui un homme qui était animé pas seulement de bonne volonté, mais qui était pris, on dirait, par les problèmes de son peuple.
Dr. Paul Farmer, an American physician and anthropologist who has worked in Haiti's impoverished Central Plateau for 25 years, agrees with Father Poulard.
The majority of his inspiration comes from listening to very, very poor parishioners, people living in slums, people who are child servants, women who have many children but don't have any stable employment. And that was the focus of his own ministry as a priest.
Farmer's clinic has grown into an impressive medical and educational complex and serves as a model for bringing health care to the world's poorest communities. Farmer himself has been outspoken in his support for Haiti's embattled former president.
When you look back at people who adopt ideas that are unnerving to the powerful, the idea, for example, that the Haitian poor just want poverty with dignity and a few basic rights, you know, clean water, to go to school, etc. Those are profoundly disturbing ideas in some circles. And they're profoundly popular ideas among the poor themselves.
Already well known as a tireless advocate for the poor, in the late 1980s, Aristide began drawing attention for his fervent criticism of the military and foreign domination of the country.
Si vraiment ils reconnaissent avoir volé, si vraiment ils reconnaissent avoir volé à travers leurs compatriotes tout au long du processus de colonisation, si vraiment ils veulent dire à la face du monde entier qu'ils sont développés, qu'ils commencent à ne pas avoir pitié d'Haïti. Nous n'avons pas besoin de pitié, nous. Qu'ils commencent à ne pas avoir pitié de nous, mais à reconnaître le droit que nous avons, droit de récupérer un peu de ce qu'ils ont volé. Alors, ils pourront se dire des personnes humaines qui transcendent le matériel pour déboucher sur une dimension spirituelle où la personne humaine se développe continuellement et n'ose pas appeler quelqu'un qu'il a exploité un sous-développé quand lui-même il est le premier sous-développé.
Aristide's passionate speeches chastising the world's wealthier powers not only had an impact in Haiti, but within the international community as well. John Shattuck, who served throughout the globe as the Assistant Secretary of State for Human Rights in the Clinton administration, recalls Aristide's significance following the Duvalier dictatorships.
Aristide represented a people's reform movement and genuinely, I think, was trying for the first time ever in Haitian history, at least in modern history, to be the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the people who had previously had no source of support and who were constantly the victims of a corrupt elite and a military regime.
Aristide and others like him are the opposite, are the result of the Duvalier years. The Duvaliers were there for 30 years almost and created a society that's completely immoral.
For over 30 years, François Duvalier and later his son Jean-Claude ruled Haiti as dictators, dominating the population with brutality. Using a ruthless militia of loyalists known as the Tonton Macoute, the Duvaliers expropriated millions of dollars from the Haitian treasury and committed countless human rights abuses. When a popular uprising finally forced Jean-Claude from power in 1986, he fled to France, leaving in his wake a nation ravaged by chaos and violence. Ray LaForest, now a human rights activist, remembers growing up under the Duvalier regime.
So Duvalier represented a complete lack of respect for life, abuse, raping of women and children and families, a degradation of the society, just naked aggression, a neo-fascist system.
Jean-Claude Duvalier's departure left both a political and security vacuum in Haiti. And for the next 3 years, former Tonton Macoute and army loyalists battled over control of the country, killing countless civilians. In 1990, the international community finally decided it had seen enough unrest, and a UN mission was dispatched to Haiti to oversee a presidential election. Father Aristide, refusing to be intimidated by multiple assassination attempts and the burning of his church and orphanage, decided to run for the presidency. Aristide called his party La Valasse, or the People's Flood, and his grassroots campaign and fiery populist rhetoric instantly connected with the people tired of oppression and suffering.
President Aristide came out of Cité Soleil. He was a priest who spoke Creole and talked with the people and communicated. Prior to that time, people in power spoke French. And up comes this priest talking to poor people, and yes, he created for them hope. He communicated with them, and he led the way to change.
Today, President Aristide lives in exile in South Africa. When we spoke with him there, he described the challenge of trying to work with a society dangerously divided into wealthy elites and millions of poor.
We said we should not create a kind of war where rich fighting poor and poor fighting against rich, but a kind of place where rich and poor can work together.
He's simply saying to the property classes, you have to give a little more to the poor. We want to move from abject misery to dignified poverty. That was his program.
But those in Haiti's elite class who opposed Aristide's social reforms accuse him of being divisive.
En prônant la lutte, une sorte de lutte des classes, là, il a tout cassé, je crois. Il fallait évidemment prôner le partage, parce que il faut le reconnaître, en Haïti, notre élite n'a pas travaillé suffisamment à la promotion des masses.
But Danny Glover, a political activist, actor, and close friend of Aristide who's been following events in Haiti for over 30 years, disagrees.
To raise the minimum wage just slightly, which was what Aristide attempted to do, to bring medical services to that island, which has not only inadequate medical services, but is one of the leading countries in the region in terms of HIV/AIDS. To bring those things to that island were very minimal things that you do for people who you consider to be human beings.
Not all of Aristide's opposition came from within Haiti. 600 miles to the north, the U.S. government had its own ideas for the upcoming election. Noam Chomsky, a professor at MIT who has written extensively about Haiti, remembers the American reaction to Aristide's candidacy.
Finally, in 1990, Haiti had its first